My name is Roland, and I was reborn into the body of a noble prince in some boring, dangerous border town in the middle of nowhere. An old man came to get me, but before he could even knock, he ran into one of the maids who had just served me. She told him I was sleeping, but her eyes said something completely different. That shifty, nervous look of someone desperately hiding something. The old man walked in and found me passed out cold, a wine goblet tipped over on the floor. He didn't know it yet, but at that exact moment, the prince was already dead, and that's when I took over his body. I woke up trying to figure out what the heck was going on. The old man immediately told me to get up. There was a witch who needed to be executed, and I was the one who had to give the order. Meanwhile, outside, I could hear the crowd going absolutely crazy. A young woman was being pelted with rocks while everyone screamed, "Witch, witch!" The nobles? Oh, they had front row seats up on the balcony, sipping wine like they'd paid for VIP access to a show. That's when it really hit me. I had been reborn as a prince. I played it cool, walked around the room and spotted the poisoned wine goblet on the floor. Someone had murdered the original owner of this body. When I finally stepped outside, dude, my jaw dropped. Like I still couldn't fully believe I was in another world. The whole crowd was screaming at me to authorize the witch's hanging. In the middle of the mob, I noticed that same maid from earlier, staring in pure shock. Because the prince was still alive. Because I was still alive. I looked at the so-called witch and realized she was just a young woman. The whole thing felt completely insane to me. But since I had to keep pretending to be the prince, I called for a delay in the trial. The royal knight immediately shut me down. You can't do that. Once a witch is identified, she has to be executed on the spot, or she'll draw more witches to us. So I turned around and said, and why wouldn't that be a good thing? More witches show up, we catch them all at once. He just froze. And just like that, the trial was postponed. Later, I was riding in the carriage back to the mansion, and without realizing it, I was sitting right next to the very person who had poisoned me, still playing the role of a harmless little maid. Once we arrived, I headed to my room and started processing everything. I was stuck in the body of a joke of a prince. No respect, no real territory in some grim, dark, backwards world. I thought, what on earth am I supposed to do here? Then I looked in the mirror and realized, okay, at least the guy was seriously good looking. I decided I was going to make the most of this situation. Later, over dinner, the royal advisor showed up and got straight to the point. Why hadn't I ordered the witch's execution? This wasn't something that could be brushed aside. I casually asked why executing a witch was such a big deal. He explained that people had spotted more alleged witches in the Western Forest, and they'd found a symbol. The emblem of the Witches Cooperative Association. I had no idea what that was, so I asked. The advisor explained. Witches used to operate solo, but this association wanted to unite them all under one mission, finding something called the Sacred Mountain, the only place where witches could find eternal peace. Because of that, the association was constantly recruiting. I asked, completely deadpan, "Are you scared they'll find out the witch is still alive and come to break her out?" He panicked and confirmed it, emphasizing that the witch needed to be executed immediately. Because once someone awakens a witch's power, that power is terrifying. And that word, power, made my eyes light up. The advisor explained that a few days earlier, the mine on the northern ridge had collapsed, and the witch had revealed her power by burning a man until he melted like a candle and spread across the floor. After hearing that, I needed to see this witch for myself. The old man completely lost it. I also asked why she wasn't being burned at the stake like usual. The advisor answered, dead serious, because she doesn't fear fire. But coming from the modern world, I thought this was all straight up fantasy nonsense. I headed down to the dungeon to see it with my own eyes. The knight begged me to turn back, saying he couldn't guarantee my safety down there. I looked at him and said, "If you never face evil, how are you ever going to defeat it?" He agreed with that, but pushed back. There are limits to what a human being can do. Recklessness isn't courage. Still convinced the witch was just a misunderstood woman, I looked at him and asked, "So what you're saying is, we should dish out justice against the weakest opponents and just ignore the stronger ones?" He apologized, held it together, and the two of us moved forward. When I finally reached the witch's cell, I was stunned. The woman was drop-dead gorgeous, deep blue eyes that showed absolutely no malice, only an unshakable sense of conviction. Even with her in chains, the knight snapped into defensive mode immediately. I introduced myself and asked her name. In a weak voice, she answered, "Anna." I asked her to tell me everything. Anna, reluctant and clearly broken, explained, when the mine collapsed, her father, a miner, got his leg trapped inside. She rushed to help him, but another miner took advantage of the chaos to steal the money her father had saved up. A lifetime of grueling, back-breaking work, gone. Her father, even trapped and badly injured, fought with everything he had. When Anna arrived, she saw the thief raising a pickaxe, about to bring it down on her own father's head, and without a second thought, she killed him. I asked how she got captured. The advisor answered for her. And the answer hit me like a punch to the gut. Anna was turned in by her own father. Yeah, her dad handed her over for a reward of 25 gold coins, enough to live comfortably for the rest of his life. I looked directly at Anna and asked, the man she killed was older, physically stronger than her. How did she do it? Anna answered quietly, with what they call the devil's power. Still skeptical, I asked her to show me. Everyone completely freaked out. The witch could kill every single person in that room at any moment. Even Anna herself, realizing this was my first time actually being face to face with a witch, warned me, your curiosity is going to get you killed one day. I looked at her and replied, if you're really a demon, I shouldn't be the first one you'd go after. It should be your father. Those words hit her like a freight train. I watched Anna's tears fall. Being betrayed by your own father is a different kind of pain. I stepped closer and looked her in the eyes. Are you someone worthy of pity? Or a demon with an incredible gift for acting? Then, even with the night trying to physically stop me, I yanked off the collar that was sealing Anna's power, while everyone scrambled to hold me back and ran for the exit in full panic mode. I finally saw it with my own eyes, the raw, overwhelming power of that woman. Flames exploded through the cell. The knight screamed at me to run, but I told him to wait. And then I noticed Anna was controlling the fire, keeping it contained within the cell walls. I watched her walk toward me, her clothes burning completely away until she extinguished the flames and asked me in that calm voice that sent chills down my spine, my lord, was your curiosity satisfied? Anna told me that now that I'd seen it for myself, I could go ahead and execute her. But I took off my own cloak and draped it over her and told her I wasn't going to kill her. Quite the opposite, actually. I wanted to hire her. So, the next day, I was alone in my room, just sitting there thinking about Anna's powers. Back in my past life, I was an engineer, and I know thermodynamics like the back of my hand. I know damn well that heat never flows from cold to hot without some kind of consequence. That entropy always increases in an irreversible reaction. And then it hit me. Anna just straight up ignores all of that. She creates heat out of literally nothing. Sidesteps the burden of entropy like it's not even a thing. My jaw dropped. The power of witches is like insane and insanely convenient. That's when I heard Barov walk into the room. I cut straight to the chase and asked if he'd completed the task. Barov confirmed without hesitating. The witch was hanged at noon, and the prisoner had a hood over his head so nobody would figure out who he actually was. I was satisfied. Then I asked Barov for a full report on the border city's trade. Taxes, fixed expenses, everything from the last decade. I also asked for a detailed breakdown of the city's production sectors. Textiles, steel, ceramics, all of it. Barov, who was used to dealing with the old prince, a complete deadbeat, useless from start to finish, looked at me like I just asked him to solve a math problem on the moon and questioned why I needed any of that. I looked at him and kept it simple. Don't worry about it, just bring me what I asked for. Barov agreed, and, visibly relieved, mentioned that I was finally taking the royal decree seriously. Then I walked over to the kingdom's map and started breaking down the geopolitics of the whole situation. Timothy oversees the economic hub of Valencia. Gerald commands the military fortress at Coldwind Crest. Gracia controls the trade port of Clearwater. Tilly manages the cultural center of the Silver City. And me? I got tossed into the most desolate, broke-down border city in the entire kingdom. Taking in the full picture, I asked Barov, dead cold, what are my actual odds here? Barov kept it real. Since I'd made a massive mess of things the previous year and basically ran the city into the ground, it wasn't going to be easy. The local nobles had been doing whatever they wanted, with zero consequences. So I asked who was really calling the shots in the region. Barov answered without missing a beat. The royal house of Fortacinza, the Wimbledons. I gave a dry smile and said, that's just a front. I explained that the ones who truly run the kingdom are the Holy City, the Hermes. Only someone crowned by the Pope is considered a legitimate king, which means the current regime is nothing more than a puppet of the theocracy. Doesn't matter how much my brothers build up their territories. In the end, everything belongs to the church. I wrapped it up with total conviction. If I build a kingdom completely outside that system, the throne will be mine. Then I looked straight at Barov and asked, point blank, you, as a loyal defender of the royal house, aren't you sick of the church sticking its nose in governance? Barov agreed but pushed back. The church's power was deeply rooted in the people. What could we even do about it? I responded calmly. The people's support for the church comes from the lies it tells. If we can prove the church is lying, the people will stop backing it. And the best way to do that? Prove that witches aren't the incarnation of the devil. I watched Barov finally put the pieces together. That was it. That was the real reason I'd saved Anna. Then I looked Barov dead in the eyes and said, if I win the royal decree, the title of assistant could be stripped from you. Maybe you go further and become my hand of the king. And then, Dead serious. Barov never questioned my decisions again. I watched Barov leave the room completely shook. The knight, looking uneasy, mentioned he was worried the other nobles might find out I was sheltering a witch, but Barov had bigger things on his mind and brushed the comment off. Meanwhile, I found out Anna was in the garden, alone with her thoughts. She had just signed an equal terms work contract with me. Barov told her she'd receive 1 gold coin per month. Anna's jaw hit the floor. That was way more than her father made in an entire year of hard labor. She just couldn't wrap her head around what I actually wanted from her. Because to her, a witch is filthy, demonic, a child of the devil. That's when I showed up and snapped her out of her spiral. I apologized, acknowledging that after everything she'd been through, she deserved way more time to rest. Anna, still not getting any of it, asked why I'd saved her, and what the real reason behind that contract was. I decided to play the gentleman card and invited her to take a walk. As we walked, Anna circled back. She had killed someone. She deserved to be punished. She deserved to die. I explained calmly that what she did was self-defense, something anyone in her position would have done. But my words didn't even come close to getting through to Anna, who held firm. I'm the incarnation of the devil, and this sin can't be erased. Without rushing it, I picked a citrus flower and held it out to her. This flower is highly poisonous, I said. I watched Anna drop it instantly, startled. I smiled. I was lying. I explained the flower was still the same flower. What changed was Anna's perception of it. And it was the exact same thing with a witch's powers. They're not good or evil. They're natural. This whole story about impurity, about the devil, that's just opinions. And opinions can be changed. Anna fired back in tears that I was being way too simplistic, that the power was terrifying, that it would kill everyone who got close to her. Realizing there was no point in pushing further, I said with complete honesty, if you want to die, I'm not going to stop you. But know this, dying won't fix anything. Your father will still hate witches. Everything you lost won't come back. And then I dropped the real one. You can choose a different path. Build a world with me where witches can live free. I watched Anna freeze. In a quiet voice, she confessed, I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to be free. To study, to read, to sing out loud. I just want to live. And she asked, eyes glistening, will that day actually come? I extended my hand and answered, yes, but only if we work together. I watched Anna look at that hand and make her choice. She was going to help me. So I instructed Anna to train with her powers until she had full control over them. Later that night, I found out a mysterious female assassin had sent a message to the other witches about what I was up to. The next day, after pulling an all-nighter going through documents, I figured out that the border city was a mining town, completely suffocated by noble corruption. And to make things worse, the region had zero agricultural production. So I asked Barov how they handled food supply. Barov explained, all the ore they produced was traded for food with Longsong Fortress. The border city was basically treated like property of the Longsongs, who handed out barely enough rations to keep the workers standing. Baron Boris, before I took over, blindly obeyed the Longsongs, handing over every last bit of ore in exchange for scraps. I brought up Boris and mentioned I'd never trusted the guy. I knew that by taking his territory, I'd made myself a declared enemy. Barov confirmed. Boris and the other nobles had personal interests tied to Longsong Fortress. They didn't care about how much ore was being produced. The food they sent to the city barely kept people alive. I decided right then and there, that ends now. Cut off all trades with the fortress immediately. I laid out the plan. We'd sell the ore to Willow City and buy food directly from them. Barov worried Willow City wouldn't be willing to take on such a massive quantity of ore, since they'd never dealt with anything on that scale. But I pushed back, calm and collected. We'd sell at half the market price. With margins like that, they weren't going to say no. Barov got anxious about the future. After all, we'd be burning through our stockpile. I explained with long-term vision. Once we'd built up enough resources, we'd expand. The border city sits right at the source of the river that cuts through the entire kingdom. With enough ships, we could sail through the whole thing and trade with everyone. The Rubywood River would become the border city's Silk Road. Barov, confused, said the city didn't produce silk. I laughed. It's a metaphor, bro. Then Barov dropped the bomb. If we went through with this, the fortress would no longer take in the city's residents during winter. I didn't get why we'd need the fortress in winter to begin with. Barov explained, winter brings monsters. The gates of hell crack open inside Dragonspine Mountain and corrupt the animals, turning them into bloodthirsty demonic beasts. They attack in hordes and tear through everything in their path. And since the city has no walls, every year the residents take shelter for months inside Longsong Fortress. It hit me hard. Without solving the beast problem, there was no way to establish myself and build trade there. I called in the 2 patrol captains and a man who claimed to have actually fought the creatures before. One of the captains tried to speak, but since he was standing in front of me, a prince, he completely locked up. Not a single coherent word came out of the poor guy. The other captain stepped up and explained. At the end of autumn, the patrol kept a close eye on the misty forest. When they spotted signs of the beasts, they lit the signal fires and booked it by boat down the Rubywood River to the fortress. I asked if they got attacked on the river. The captain explained that the current was strong and the river ran too deep. In years of recorded history, not a single demonic beast had ever crossed it. I asked how long the demonic months lasted. The captain answered, 2 to 3 months, ending when the sky clears and the snow melts. But last year, it dragged on for 4 months, and a lot of people died. I didn't get it. If they were inside the fortress, how did they starve? The captain explained. The fortress handed out food based on ore delivered. With careful rationing, it lasted up to 3 months, but by the 4th month, the ore ran out. There was no way to get back to the city to mine more, and people were dropping dead of starvation right inside the fortress. It clicked, completely and finally. Taking shelter in Longsong Fortress was not an option. The hunter then stepped forward and introduced himself. He'd killed 2 beasts, a mutant boar and a mutant wolf. He explained that the beasts were corrupted wild animals. The more powerful the animal was before the corruption, the more dangerous the beast became. A wolf got way faster. A boar developed skin so tough that crossbow bolts couldn't even pierce it. I concluded that, despite being stronger and more agile, they were still animals. The hunter agreed, but warned me that the hybrid beasts existed. Those were the real nightmares. They could transform, grow wings, and with their enhanced sense of smell, it didn't matter where you hid, they would find you. They toyed with their prey before devouring it, like they actually enjoyed the suffering. Real demons. I asked the hunter's name, and why he was keeping his head down. Carter explained. The man was from the Sand People in exile, from the Mojin clan. I told him to raise his head and said firmly, "It doesn't matter who you are. As long as you're in the border city, you're part of my people. Tell me your name." The man lifted his head and answered, "Iron Axe." I thanked everyone, praised each of their contributions, and announced they'd each be rewarded with 10 silver coins. Afterward, I had Carter come with me to the border where the flame was lit during the demonic month. I studied the spot carefully. I noticed the men who lit the signal fire ran straight down the mountain to the river. I asked Carter the average distance to the water. "Approximately 600 meters, he answered. Then Carter, choosing his words carefully so as not to overstep, asked whether I was actually planning to stay in the border city during the demonic period. I confirmed. I watched Carter go pale. The city had only a handful of guards. The castle had no room for 2,000 residents. Defending against a horde of demonic beasts was flat out impossible. But I looked straight ahead, steady. I'm not planning on dying here, and I'm definitely not abandoning my people. And then, with that unshakable confidence of a brilliant reincarnated engineer that I carry with me everywhere, I wrapped it up. Right here, we're going to build the strongest, most unbreakable walls in history, and we're going to wipe those beasts out once and for all.